Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Sally. This is Headspace for the Workplace. It's a podcast where we are getting workplaces to be vibrant and psychologically safe and healthy. And every episode, we are joined by international experts who are helping us up our game. And I am thrilled to bring our guest today. Sonya Bohmann has been a good friend and a colleague in this effort of mental health promotion and suicide prevention for quite some time, and has really shifted the lever. And so what we're going to talk about today is industry level change. I mean, it's one thing to help someone you're worried about. It's another thing to get things going in your organization, in your company or your union or your local, but it's a whole nother thing to think about how to change an industry. And she and her partners at the Construction Industry Alliance for Suicide Prevention have been doing just that. And if you had told me 15 years ago that this girly do-gooder, me, would be spending so much time in the construction industry and just being completely at awe with how fast things are moving and how things are scaling and how this is a regular conversation in an industry, I would have told you there's no way. I don't see the pathway to that. But now I get it. And I'm just so grateful that the construction industry has taken the reins, not just for construction folks, but for the rest of us. Sonya, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's tell the folks what they're gonna get, the nuggets they're gonna get today. What are the two things they're gonna take away?
Making the shift from awareness. So we're going a little deeper than just talking about it, but really doing something about it. And then making this a 12-month-a-year conversation.
Love it. Well, I am a big fan. I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of CIASP. I'm a fan of what you've been doing. I mean, really since it was started, but what you've really done in the last 3 years since you've come on to lead the crew. So let's talk a little bit more about you. What's your background? What CIASP is all about? CIASP is short for Construction Industry Alliance for Suicide Prevention. Let's start there.
Well, so let's start with a little fun fact. I never call it CIASP because I'm always afraid that it's going to come out wrong. So I always use the initials. So I always say CIASP. When I first started, one of our former board members who now lives in Australia, Nick Robbins, always called it CIASP. And I was like, I'm afraid. I can't do it.
That is hilarious. Yes.
You will hear me refer to us as CIASP, and now you know why. A little bit about me. I come from construction, light construction, remodels, refreshes, and facilities maintenance. And I did that for over a decade. And when I left them, I was their executive vice president of culture. And if you know anything about this industry in particular, but it also applies, I think, across many industries, is when you have a small company trying to grow to medium size or large, people wear lots and lots of different hats. So while I had this really fancy title, sometimes I was responsible for safety, and sometimes I was responsible for HR, and sometimes I was responsible for culture, and sometimes I was responsible for unclogging the toilet in the office. Right?
Yes.
You wear lots and lots of different hats. But one of the things that I was also responsible for was our social purpose. I'm a loss survivor, just like you. I'm a sibling loss survivor. And so mental health and suicide prevention have been part of just who I am for a long time. I volunteered with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention for years. And when we were at our company and deciding how to be bigger than the sum of our parts, we talked to our people and they all had a connection to suicide. And so we did some grassroots work around suicide prevention and supporting a small charity. I opened up to my LinkedIn one page, and I had been following CIASP for years. I heard Cal Beyer speak during COVID, and I thought, what a really cool job, what a really cool person. And I wish that was something that would work for me. It would be my dream job. So fast forward a few years, I opened up my LinkedIn in January of 2023 because I was going to download some resumes that I had posted. And the job description for this position was sitting in my newsfeed. And I thought, that looks like my dream job.
Yes.
And I showed it to a friend, and he's like, that looks like your dream job. What are you going to do about it? And I said, I'm not going to do anything about it. I have 300 resumes I have to go through, and I don't have time to deal with this today. So I kind of ignored it and went about my day, downloaded my resumes, was going through them. And I happened to take my son to youth group that night, and I was waiting for him to finish, and I was going to be there for a while. So I thought, I'm going to open up my laptop and start going through these resumes again. And when I opened up LinkedIn, just like your regular social feeds, LinkedIn refreshes. Well, mine didn't refresh that day, and it was still sitting there.
Oh,
And I thought,
chills.
wow, that's an interesting sign from the universe. Um, so I shared it with someone I was sitting next to, and she goes, "That looks like your dream job. What are you going to do about it?" And
Mm.
I thought, well, again, I'm not going to do anything about it. I don't have an updated resume. I haven't written a cover letter in a decade. And she's like, well, you have 2 hours, start Googling. So I very quickly wrote a cover letter, and I half-heartedly updated my resume. And I said, listen, I don't really come from nonprofit. I come from construction, but I'm pretty sure that this is my dream job. And I hit send. And that
Oh,
was 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago to the day. May 1st is when I started with CIASP. And it has truly been my dream job ever since. I get to do some really,
you
really
do.
amazing things with amazing people every day.
You absolutely do. Yes. And the impact it has had really in such a short period of time, moving from an idea to like a
Yeah.
fledgling program under the umbrella of the Construction Financial
Yeah.
Management Association to launching with its first board of trustees to
Sure.
today. It's just incredible. It's just incredible.
Thank you.
Ah, so great. All right. And I know you have another fun fact in your pocket, and that is
Well, I have double jointed fingers. So, I mean, you can kind of see it, but watch.
nice.
So that's my claim to
It's
fame.
a good it's a
Um,
good party trick. It's a good party
right?
trick.
It is how I entertain kids all the time. So, so
Awesome.
that's it for me.
Oh, that's great.
I,
All right, let's dig into the number one because this is a big mantra of mine too. But let's talk about it at the industry level. What
sure.
did you mean when you talked about make the shift from awareness?
Well, I think there's a lot of conversation right now about awareness, and I hope that many of us recognize numbers like 988 and that we are in a position where we can talk about it. And we can never leave awareness completely because there's always someone new entering the conversation, but we have to take the next step too. We have to take action now. And so training your people and getting people to recognize that the way that we truly make a difference and the way that we truly save lives is by training the helpers.
Mm-hmm.
Not to sound cliche and talk about Mr. Rogers, but
Mm-hmm.
we look to those helpers. And
Mm-hmm.
when you are in that space, when you're struggling with your mental health, it's really hard to see yourself in that or to recognize that you need help. And so we don't always reach out when we do. But if we can teach others to recognize that someone is struggling, we can ask them if they need help and then connect them to that help. I mean, that's if you look at the MATES model from Australia, that's how they've made a difference is making those connections and training people to recognize that someone else is in need of help.
Yes, and I think some other things that CIASP slows you
You can
down.
call it CIASP all day as long as you're comfortable.
Another thing that you've really done is that I think differentiates because there's a lot of places that offer training. We offer training. A lot of places offer training. Is that that was an industry level impact? Was that you took, well, there's several things. You built a community. So you made a simple action of take a pledge. And
Right.
from that, you built a community. And from
Mhm.
that community, you had social proof. And then they
Mhm.
could see each other taking these other actions. The other part when it comes to taking action, so taking an action, you took an action, you made a pledge. That's an action
Absolutely.
step,
Yep.
right? And then the other piece that kind of speaks to this is that you streamlined and simplified some things so that this daunting problem of mental health and suicide prevention was, a couple of steps. It
Mhm.
was like your stand up for suicide prevention.
Sure.
You simplified it so
Mhm.
that it could be scalable and replicable and like one stop shop. I hit a button, I got downloadable things. Can you just speak a little bit about that in terms of the action piece as well at the industry level about what could like say the oil and gas industry replicate from what you've learned from that?
Well, you mentioned the stand up pledge. And so many of our resources are built on that. So S is for safety, T is for training, A is for awareness, N is for normalize, and D is for decrease. And from there, we built toolbox talks around those. So ways to start this conversation in and around the industry. And they can really be transferable to anyone. They're not construction specific, although they're meant for the construction industry. But you can transfer learning about warning signs to any industry. And then from there, we build a needs analysis that allows a company to look at what they have in place from a mental wellness and suicide prevention program, and then recognize where those gaps are. And then from those gaps, go out to the website and continue to build those resources. But they also go with stands so that it is compact and easy to process through. So it may be that this week you're working on S and next week you're working on T, but it doesn't feel so overwhelming that way. And then we've broken those resources down into who needs to use them, how you're going to use them, and when you might need to use them. The other thing that we've really focused on is trying to create resources that meet people where they are. So we know that not everybody's going to tune in and download Toolbox Talks. Not everybody is going to listen to an hour-long webinar recording that's on our website, but they might listen to a 20-minute podcast. And so we've created smaller bites that are more casual conversations, but are specific to the industry and different things and themes that might be happening in that industry. So just like everyone else, we took that 12-month-a-year calendar and said, how do we socialize this around mental health and construction? And how do we kind of continue to tie those things in it? So for February, Valentine's Day, we kind of went with a love theme, and we interviewed an apprentice who really found his passion for the industry and what he can do with that to make a career out of it. And then we took someone who was leaving the industry, and we interviewed Greg Sizemore as he is about to start his transition into retirement, and what he loved about being here and what he loves about construction and the legacy that he got to leave. And so there's different ways to message construction mental health without taking a hammer and messaging construction mental health. Right. And so mental health conversations can be like that no matter what industry you're in. Find something that you can connect to, that you can draw back to mental health, and then make that your introduction or your talking point.
All right. So much there. I want to unpack. I'm going to go
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm like trying to okay, remember that. Okay. I want to go, I know you and I for sure. I want to go back to the move beyond awareness piece, because the other action step I see you taking that matters greatly for the industry. I know your message is to the end user, like get beyond awareness, but I'm also talking to the industry leaders, get beyond just awareness. I see you showing up. Like as the leader in this, you show up in all the places constantly, and you build relationships and you listen to what people are needing and where they're getting stuck. And then you like all of those are also part of action. Like Absolutely. You're not just sitting in your home office in Pennsylvania, like sending stuff out. You're showing up. Yes. So whoever's leading this, just know you just can't sit back and think magical things are going to happen. Yeah. And then I also knew you do this too, but Cal was also a huge mentor for me in this space. The engagement, not just at the different conferences, but also the media engagement. Like he's out there regularly engaging with trade publications, not major media, but where people in the industry are getting their information about what's the hot topic and how are we solving problems, and constantly being in that part of the communication piece too. So there's lots of action steps to take beyond just kind of a passive putting something out on a website or social media and hoping it's going to stick.
Well, I think you make a great point there. And what I would say to someone who's trying to figure out how to make those engagements, you don't have to know reporters. You don't have to be, kind of looking for that yourself. But we all subscribe to publications. We all follow some of these things. And sometimes it's simply responding to an article that's already out there, making a comment under the in the comments section, or writing a letter to the editor if you feel strongly about a piece of that content, whether it's positive or negative. And it certainly is a great way to start getting yourself noticed and to start really making change in the industry and starting to build those relationships. But it is its own sort of entity. Like you have to be working on it all of the time. It can't just be It's a little bit here and a little bit there conversation.
Right, right, great. Okay, now let's fully shift into the 12-month a year conversation. You started that a little bit, that it can't just be Mental Health Month, yay May,
Yeah. Yeah.
or just Suicide Prevention Week. Talk a little bit more
Mhm.
about what you were thinking there.
Well, again, it goes a little bit back to what we talked about in making that shift to awareness. But one of our board members says this so eloquently, so I will steal Joe Xavier's line, and he says that just like safety, this can't be a priority. You know, your head is connected to your body, and so it has to be a full conversation, but it has to be a core value. And every company out there claims that safety is one of their core
Hmm.
values.
Hmm.
Um, and the difference between a core value and a priority is often connected to revenue generation. It is often a time sensitive thing and it changes with the wind in many
Hmm.
cases.
Hmm.
But a core value doesn't change. It's who you are, it's
Right.
what you believe in, and it's what your company stands for. And if we're
Beautifully put.
standing for safety, then we have to look at mental health as part of that, which means as often as we talk about physical safety, we have to talk about psychological safety and mental health and wellness on our job sites and in our companies and in every part of what we do.
Yes. And I just shared this conversation that I had this morning with you earlier. So I'll repeat it here. But it was, I was talking to a company and it was their senior vice president of safety. And they're curious and they want to do the right thing. And so he's like, so how long will this take? And I was like, how long does safety take? And he
Right.
he got it right away. He's like, got it, all day, every day. I said,
All day,
right.
every day.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
So the other
Mhm.
part that you were bringing up earlier that I just want to hone in on was the multiple ways of the 12-month approach,
Yeah.
the everyday approach, and that you don't have to blast out the same message. In fact, it is detrimental if you do, because people numb out to it and there's no
They tune
other
out.
context. And
Mhm.
then a lot of times, again, when I'm seeing industry start, they hone in on the urgent death data. They're
Mhm.
dying, they're dying, they're dying, they're dying. And that creates a sense of hopelessness. So it creates the urgency for sure,
It
but
also creates fear.
hopelessness. Yeah, a
Hmm.
lot of fear.
Hmm.
And, frankly, some concern about the industry itself. Like, would I send my children there? Like, I don't know.
Right.
Right. So there has to
Hmm.
be additional narratives. I'm not saying don't do that because the urgency is important and the reality of those numbers is jarring people into action,
Absolutely.
but
Hmm.
it has to be balanced with these other pieces. So talk a little bit about what some of the other ways of making this a 12-month calendar approach. What does that look like?
So you can actually go on and Google, because we did this long ago, national days related to mental health, and you'll get things like National Music Day or World Pet Day, and there's one like Take a Walk Day, all of which you can tie back to mental health. And if you follow us on social, you'll see us do that really often.
Hmm.
National Hydration Day. Well, there's a real scientific correlation between a lot of these things and mental health. And if
Hmm.
you just share that statistic and then a little information about what you can do for that, that gets people interested in the narrative. And once they're interested in the narrative, they want to then go to your website and see what you can find out. And that's when you share your statistics and that's when you share your resources. But if you're doing this as a company and you're trying to figure out how do I message this, maybe you have a newsletter. Well, again, you can't go from zero to talking about schizophrenia. That's not how this
Hmm.
works in an
Hmm.
industry when you want people to believe in it. But you can say, did you know that being properly hydrated has a positive effect on your mental health? Did you know that sleep deprivation has the same effects on our body as being over the legal limit of alcohol? Did you know? And then you start mixing in those things. And then you can say things like, there were 1,000 fatal worker injuries in our industry, but there were 5,000 deaths by suicide. What are you doing for your mental health today? And then that's how you start to enter this conversation versus just saying, we're losing 15 workers a day to suicide and we've got to stop. Well, we
Hmm.
do. But if we start there, people are going to tune out and they're going to be afraid and they're going to think that this is, a scare tactic versus sharing useful, helpful information.
Correct. And then, like you were saying, like go to where they're already saying yes. So, are they
Right.
already saying yes that they're stressed? Yes, they
Yeah.
are. Are they already saying yes to burnout? Yes, they are. And
Mhm.
I just published, speaking of sleep, I just published this little thing on
Saw that.
sleep. Oh my Lanta. I never know what's going to land.
Right.
Oh my Lanta, the
Mhm.
uptick, the sharing, the open rates, unparalleled because everybody's struggling with sleep. It's a pretty
Absolutely.
universal problem. So
Mhm.
go to where they're already saying yes. Many are also always saying yes about being worried about their children. Well, that's coming in to work with them. So
Mhm.
all of that is a little easier way to get the momentum. And then once it gets going, it's a lot easier to do the other thing. The other part that I wanted to highlight that you said earlier was you've got people telling stories. You've got love letters from people at the end of the industry. I loved your love letter thing, by the way. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Sonia presented as her keynote at our last conference, love letters to the industry about all the people doing this work. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece. As well as, a love letter for someone who's new and got big, fresh eyes about what drew
Yep.
them here and what they're excited about.
Yeah.
All the love letters, all of the recovery stories, all of the I helped a friend piece. And that is what really sticks with people.
Mhm.
So, so we've got some calendar pieces, we've got some communication tactics and approaches. Any other thing you would say that would help people really think about how to make this a everyday, all day thing, or at least a once a week thing throughout the
Well, I
year?
think it goes back to those love letters. Ask
Mm-hmm.
people to share their stories. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
they're sharing them safely, obviously. Give them some guidelines to be able to do that, some training on how to do that. But there's such power in shared stories, especially if they're told safely. But, knowing that you're not alone in this conversation, knowing that you're not the only one struggling or that you're not the only one that is having a hard time really makes a difference. But those stories often show hope, and that hope means that there is an opportunity for recovery, that treatment works, and that we really can see through the struggles to the other side.
Wonderful. And I thought one more thing. I wanted to get your take on it. Our little phrase, bake it in. So bake it into things you're already doing. That's
Mhm.
another way to get it going 24/7,
Absolutely.
200 and whatever,
Mhm.
365 days a year. So what does that look like on your end? Where are things that they could bake in where health and safety stuff has already happened? We talked about the toolbox talks. In your experience, have there been other places where we are already doing this? Let's just slide a bit of this in so that also people see that these things are tied.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're already doing safety stand downs. You're already
Yep.
doing town halls. You're already
Yep.
sending out newsletters. Bake it into all of those things. There's
Mm-hmm.
lots of places to just mention this, and it can really just be I presented recently with somebody who ends their work days. So when their crews finish at the end of the day, they ask for three positives. What are the three positive things that happened today? So instead of that crew leaving feeling like they had a rough day or that nothing went right, they're now left with three things that went well to start the
Love it.
next day.
It's beautiful. A small little practice relentlessly applied over time.
Exactly.
It helps change the
Hmm.
culture. I thought of a couple as you were talking. One would be like um, recruitment and selection, like having that be a forward-facing message of what we offer to our
Hmm.
community. Onboarding, leadership development.
Exactly.
Make this a leadership competency. Bake it
Hmm.
into your training for managers as a leadership competency, and even exiting for retirement or exit
Absolutely.
interviews for people who are leaving. Like there's a lot of places, one of my favorite ones someone shared with me was benefit renewal. They said
Hmm.
every year we
Great
meet with
opportunity to talk about that.
every single person for 5 minutes. Sign this, sign this, sign this. Oh, by the way, did you know? And
Hmm.
everybody gets a little private conversation with someone about mental health. It's great.
Yeah.
So there's lots of opportunities for that. Okay, I'm going to go back and do just a quick recap, and I'm coming back to you for your final thought, which I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
All right.
So we are talking to the amazing Sonya Bohmann about industry level change. It is not easy. It is not easy to take an industry that has done stuff a certain way and has had a certain culture and character and attracted a certain person to say, now we are introducing mental health. This is not easy, but the Construction Industry Alliance for Suicide Prevention has been incredibly successful at doing just that and has shared a lot of lessons with us on how to replicate that in healthcare, in mining, oil and gas, manufacturing, all of these other high risk industries. Oh, the service industry, another huge one that has a big problem. So, one of the ways is you can't just share awareness, you have to figure out ways to take action. And that's at every level, the individual level, the team level, the organizational level, the top industry leaders. Action is where it's at. Awareness just gets us so far. but usually not where we want to be. And then the other piece is this is not just a Wellness Wednesday thing. This is not just a mental health month thing. I know it feels really good to put these really snazzy campaigns together for the thing, but the state trooper effect is real. When it goes in the rearview mirror, everybody goes back to doing exactly what they were doing before. So Sonya, what do you got? What's your thing you want to make people make sure that we don't let them forget?
If you want to make immediate change your email signature.
Oh, what do you mean by that? What does this do?
So it's really simple. Just simply add, if you or someone you care about is in crisis, contact 988. So it does a lot of different things, but really what it does is immediately levels that playing field. And it shows everybody that you email that you're an ally, that you're a person that they can talk to, that you're someone who believes in mental health, and that you can connect them to the resources that they need.
Wonderful. Takes no time.
And it costs nothing.
It costs nothing. Even kids can do it. It's great. Great suggestion. Sonya, if people want to reach out to you, connect with you, learn more about what you're doing, either for the construction industry or other industries, or they're just like, what? How did you pull this off? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
You can reach me at preventconstructionsuicide.com or at info@preventconstructionsuicide.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for being a great partner, not only to me and all the things we do over here, but to the whole industry. You've just served so well. And I hope you feel that every day that the industry comes back to you and says thank you, because it's incredible.
There's more to come.
I know. I can't wait. They're always popping out new things. And I know you have a board, but you are a very, very small, scrappy organization.
We are a small, scrappy organization, but I jokingly say I have a unicorn board because none of this would be possible without them. They are engaged. They are active. They are supportive of the zany ideas that I have. And they really do make my job easy.
Yes. And it's not a unicorn. You have crafted that because you understand the power of their contribution, their service, and their relationship to you and the mission. You've done an amazing job.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. And thank you to the whole team behind the scenes here who pull this together. Thank you to Dave and Elias and Chase and Stacy and many others. It takes a village to do things that are important. And so thank you, all of you. And thank you, listener, for tuning in, or viewer, if you're on YouTube. You've created time today to lean into this conversation, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the investment of your time to think this through. So in closing, working minds work well together. There's lots we can learn from each other to improve the well-being of our workplaces. Until we meet again, take care.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.